Hi, everybody. This is Allison from Alley Cat Creations. How are you? It's doing it again. I want to thank Judy for getting this for my classroom. These cute little fidgets to help my kiddos calm down or redirect them in the classroom. So thank you, Judy, and thank you, Buckshot, for your beautiful card. It made me want to cry. Give me a second here, guys. Um, yeah. Hi. Hi, everybody. Um, this was last spur of the moment. Hi, Scott. How are you? I did this over, I forgot. These are feathers. I painted and then added feathers and some floral accents in the background. This can hang. So I'm working on a bunch of these. Um, Little Freya cat was sitting there and she decided, I want to go on the beanbag. So that's where she is right now with Odin. Fun times. I just dropped a TikTok about refinement and shame. And I'm going to read this for everybody. Refinement of shame. Quote, men are not ashamed to think something dirty, but they are ashamed when they imagine that others might believe them capable of these dirty thoughts. I thought this was a fantastic bringing into conversation topic of today because we all think dirty thoughts. Where do your thoughts come from? Lower astral beings, ETs, what you're channeling, God, because it's all God working through you. God, I forgot to put the party lights on. There's a party in the background. We shouldn't be ashamed of the things that we think because we think them, they come to mind, they spring into your consciousness, and here they are. It's what you do with those thoughts that make a huge difference in how people view you, per se. But if you're living in neutrality and you are not looking into polarity, you stop judging others for their perceptions and their heart alignments of the world, which is going to be different from yours, then we shouldn't be ashamed. But if you are ashamed of your thoughts, let's just say you have inappropriate thoughts, bedroom thoughts, how are you expressing them outwardly? Are you? Are you not? What are you doing to recapitulate those thoughts? Because not all of them is going to come to fruition. A lot of our thinking doesn't come and manifest for a lot of good reasons and some bad reasons. But we have to stop asking ourselves what other people think and just live your life authentically. If you have dirty thoughts that pop up, what's up, Buckshot? Thank you for your card. It put tears in my eyes. If we are to sit and think about shame and the dirty thoughts that pop in our head, what are we doing to project those that other people are going to project back onto us? When we recapitulate a dirty thought, let's just say I have inappropriate thoughts about a guy, but I know that's not ever going to manifest in my reality. And it's just something to keep my brain occupied and away and distracted from what I really need to be doing. What do we need to do? Recapitulating means going back into your imagination, into your consciousness, and feeding it something different, or imagining something else that is less dirty. A lot of our thoughts are our ego distracting us from the real thing that we really need to subversionally go into. Hi, Alcenra. Hi, Leah. Thank you for coming, guys. I just put this like last minute on. So when we're looking at the political sphere, what's going on in our outside reality right now, playing in a theater near us, what we need to take into mind is I dealt with this the last couple of weeks at work, right? And this is why I thought this quote would be perfect for tonight to discuss. I'm in a building with a mixed bag, and I have one of the teachers I really love and enjoy who loves one side that I'm not a part of, right? I just don't jive with that side. Now, people are going to sit there and just hold back their thinking or challenge those people. I'm a challenger, but I come from a challenging neutral space because they're kind of, a lot of the times when people are digging into one side and versus the other, they're digging in a negative sense. So, for example, I have somebody that loves the left side, loves in love, but fears to next level fear the right. And I come into neutrality to go into the middle. I'm not shaming her. I'm not blaming her. That's her heart alignment, and she's entitled to it. She is entitled to think those things. That's how she perceives the world. That's her perception. And she's allowed to have it, just like I'm allowed to have my perception. There's no right or wrong either in this illusion. Zero, because all perspectives are God's will. I know that sucks, but it's the truth. So I go in to see little seedlings, and her stance is that one side's going to get rid of education. And my rebuttal to that is, well, that's why I came back into education. I could have went into another career and started a new pathway, but I chose to go back into something that I'm very loyal and very heart aligned with. And I said to her, well, I think education is false. As she's an educator, she's a special ed educator. And I said, well, why can't the curriculum match a child's needs instead of you having to go and rewrite all these children's tests because they don't make sense to the kids? Math word problems, they don't make sense. Here in Indiana, they have what's called iReady. Now, I was helping Vikings children out 2 months ago with their iReady homework for math. And when I read the word problem, make this make sense. The farmer has a field of pigs. Okay, there's like 45 pigs, and I have a bag of feed. How much feed do I need? And the feed was like 45 and 3/4 pounds. There is no such fucking thing. Why? Because they come in point ounces or liters. They don't measure halves. They're doing fractions. It doesn't make any sense. Like, who is writing this bullshit? And I said that to the teacher today. I'm like, who's writing this bullshit? And if it is educators, they really need to rethink how you are teaching children. I don't think education is going to go away. And if there's a lot of patriots that are on the homeschool front that everything needs to be homeschooled, I'm sorry, go up a town from me and go ask that same question to a whole populace of children, would they rather be in school or at home? Some of these kids, the safest place is home. Some of these kids need to be at school because school is a safer place than home. It's a mixed bag. Not in our economy, there is no way a two-parent household can homeschool unless somebody is very finely rich. You can't survive on a single income. I have to go back to another job because I can't do it. So going back into the original thought there with my teacher, I just expended to her that education needs to be reformed and revitalized. It needs to have a mixed bag of different things. And he said most of the history that is being taught isn't really a reality. Most of the things in school is not something the kids should even know. Why, unless a kid goes to STEM, why are they getting calculus? Why is a special ed kid needing certain things? They need life skills. They need life skills. They don't need polynomials and trinomials. Basics is what we need. And she agrees with me. So I kind of go in there in an direct way to help her understand and establish what the other side is talking about, but she jumps into the fear base, into extremes, when in reality, that's her perception, and I'm just trying to bring her back. Recapitulating the fear into love. Recapitulating the dirty thought, as Nisha was quoting here, into something minuscule. If you have bad thoughts, dirty thoughts, adult thoughts, right, are you really going to transcribe that into your outside world? Most people will not. The fear there is for other people's judgments. But if you're walking in your authentic self, you're not caring what other people are thinking about you, period, and you're just going to go about your day. But you have to have a moral compass to do that as well. Right from wrong. Tipping the scales. I highly recommend reading his work. And I don't agree with everything he speaks. I don't. We praise or find fault, depending on which of the two provides more opportunity for our powers of judgment to shine. Hi, Taylor. It's the truth there. He's speaking a shit ton of it. We praise or find fault, depending on which of the two provides more opportunity for our powers of judgment to shine. This top one is screaming at me, so I'm going to read it before I go on the other one. The skin of the soul, just as the bones, flesh, intestines, and blood vessels are enclosed by skin, which makes the sight of a man bearable, so the stirrings and passions of the soul are covered up by vanity. It is the skin of the soul. Ego death. We need a lot of that right now. Are you ready to let it go? Are we ready to give up the shame and the judgment of others? Are you ready to work with the other side? because this is a big test. This election is a huge test. Huge test of our will, the will to power, the will to manifest. What are you bringing to the table in your everyday interactions? What are you bringing to the table? So what? You could prove fake news. You could prove that things are being deceived. Okay, great. What is that going to do for you? Who did I vote for? Oh, we won't show it. Let's see if it will go up. Ta-da! My flag speaks volumes. Now, that was 2020. And this time around, we'll see what happens. Does it really matter who we vote for? This is, to me, one of the biggest tests that God is sending all of us to be cognizant of, right? We all want certain things to come into reality, right? We all do. But at the end, whoever wins or doesn't win, or whatever movie is playing out in your reality, what change are you providing for your own self in your own reality? The white horse, beyond the pale horse, flying in and the apocalypse is happening is only a perception. I'll be very candid. It doesn't matter who I voted for, because it didn't serve me any purpose. What it served me was going inside and seeing all the corruption and all the failures of our government, all the back and forth hate and judgment, shame and blame for God's will playing out in all of us, seeing how nasty people can get. And at the root of it all, some of us are waking up and enlightened. Some of us are still shaming, blaming, pointing fingers, and not doing anything to transmute the energy that is so negative that it's keeping us in this paradigm. We can't shift, and Daniel Scranton and a few other channelers who channel the Arcturians and other councils and higher up beings, their higher selves, have said we are shifting collectively. You can individually consciously shift. You can. I could shift tomorrow if I wanted to, but I'm bound here with a mission and a contract. And so all of you. What are you doing with your contract? If we take this election that is incoming, so what happens if she wins? Just let's put it out there. Just think about it. What happens if she does win? 2020 never got resolved. So therein lies a big problem because treason was committed. And we were supposed to have, Allison, there's a cog. But the Constitution, even if it's a corrupted one, I don't care, wasn't upheld because treason already happened a long time ago. and it was never corrected. When problems happen, you stop them in its tracks. You don't let it complicitly play out in ethereals near us. Oh, for everybody's conscious awakening. I'm sorry. Everybody's awakened. It's either they are consciously awake or unconsciously awake, but that is not for you to judge. Sorry, but not sorry. And yes, the horseman of the apocalypse is just an analogy of our heavenly higher selves coming in to try to help wake us up. But wake us up to what? It's truly to who you really are. And it's not just, yeah, I'm source. It's actually embodying it. It's absorbing it. It's integrating those concepts. It's actually integrating what Yeshua was trying to teach 2,000 years ago, and everybody poo-pooed those ideas. And they actually believed in the Council of Nicaea's text over the Gnostic texts. Most of us rode white horses in heaven. It's only 6 density. Heaven is a state of existence in a higher density form. Density and dimension. All time, space, time is concurrently happening right now. The problem is you can't perceive those densities and dimensional spaces that are overlaid over us. Most people, and I know some people that are watching me here, can see the spirits running behind me. Some people can see aliens. Some people can't. Everybody has abilities, and it's up to you to raise your frequencies to see them. And then once again, I'm using my perspective as a tool here. If you go into your heart space and do not align, that's fine. I'm not asking you to. Everybody's entitled to their perception. But these concepts coming into the reality. So she wins. What happens next? There's going to be a civil war and an uprising, or is everybody just going to be complacent, sitting down and going, oh, okay, we're going to wait another 4 years for shit to change? You tell me. What happens if he wins? Then everybody's carrot on a stick will still be a carrot on a stick, waiting for something that may or may not come. These are the realistic things. You can blame and shame one side over the next. But at the end of the day, what are you doing to better your life and your world? No, I don't think so. I honestly, Taylor, I honestly don't think things are going to end. It's still God's will. If that's the way things are supposed to play out, it's where we're shifting consciously. So the more people who consciously will start waking up to the neutrality and seeing both sides and stop fearing for what will be, nothing is going to stop what is coming. And that's the truth. The truth is we're all waking up to what we are in essence. Nothing is going to stop that if you're meant to see it. Where we go one, we go all doesn't leave anybody out, and that includes the negative polarized entities. In the law of one, Ra states that after 6 density, they have no choice but to actually go positive. In the Curtis books, let's just take Hillary Clinton, for instance. Oh, she's horrible. She did all this stuff. Great. But at the end of the day, when she passes over, she's the one that's going to have to judge herself. We all have lived negative existences. We all had to have those lessons. It's all an illusion. Am I saying that what she did is right? I don't condone her shit at all. None of them. But who am I to judge what their paths are, why they were doing what they were doing? They did something heinous, but what did that do? It woke us up. What are you going to do with those choices? Some people are actively trying to make change, and a lot of people are sitting back on their couches and watching people, but just really not stepping up to the plate to physically put action into motion. We're still in a 3D construct. We might be 4D consciousness, maybe fourth dimension in the beginnings of it, but that we still have 3D bleed. So we're still here perceiving 3D, still in a 3D body. What are we going to do? If she wins, great. Transmute. That's why most of us came here. All the fear and the shame and the blame and oh my God, everything is going to kill you. All there's cloud seeding. They're this, they're that. That could, great. What are you doing with that energy that you're feeding by putting that out there? What are you doing with it? You're feeding a negative agenda. You are feeding the program with your thoughts, with your making everybody nervous and anxious that are not in the highest awareness, in the lower of the frequencies of their truth. You're frightening them. So they're going to go out and spend thousands of dollars on stuff to filtrate and stuff, but it doesn't matter. It's all tainted, right? So what do you do to untaint it? You alchemize it. You alchemize the negative energy. Instead of complaining about it, do something about it. Hold people accountable. All things have a purpose and serve a purpose. And when you see past the illusion and get the detachment of right and wrong out of the equation and your feelings and emotions and biases towards things, deprogram yourself to agendas, you're not going to care about shaming or blaming anybody anymore. What you are going to do is sit there to work on yourself to magnetize yourself towards the positive if you are of the positive. There are people of the negative, and that's their choice, and that's their right. That's their free will choice to polarize negative or to polarize positive. But the first step in the law of one is yourself and identifying yourself. And now in 4D is identifying yourself at a higher capacity to see the multidimensionality that you are. Not that you have a fractal of God in you, that you are a fractal of an archangel, of an angel, of an ET, of all the ETs. You're not just one. You're just, when you have an affinity towards a race, it's because that's the DNA being activated within you. And they're all taking turns activating. So Sirius activates, and then Nibiru activates, and then the Orion constellation activates. Then the Pleiades, they send their energy to activate, and then Arcturus and Antares and Boots and all the systems thereof. Hi, legit. I know there's a delay. I'm there's a delay. Right? The starseed component of you. And I fell into this trap myself. Everybody a couple of years ago was all the Pleiades. Yay, Pleiades. Right? Everybody was talking about that. And then I did a couple of meditations when I found that I lived on a Stargate and had a Draco and pictured a Draco and going through the different densities and dimensional spaces. I saw my other forms and they weren't all Pleiadian. When you get out of that paradigm of polarity and all the lizards, they're all evil. That's a perception. They have to play the game too. That's the cycle of this solar system, of this logos. We have to stop. I'm a mutt too. I'm a fairy. I have actually. So the unfortunately the medium that was working with me passed away. And my spirit guides are more animal and ethereal and celestial than anything else. I have a lot of fae. I think that's why I came into this life Irish, as I was supposed to connect to my fae roots, but also my Viking Scandinavian roots. I have a berserker and a larger than life black bear as my guardian team. And then I have 130 plus guides that are working with me in groups, singularly. I have the Archangel Collective, the Celestial Collective, my Oversoul, the different components of my Oversoul, some Ascended Masters. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I'm not, and here's the thing, like I'm not boasting. All of you have them. Everybody has a different amount and everybody has specific different entities that help them. That's you, by the way, in higher form. So when we talk about Archangel Michael, there's a bunch of people with Archangel Michael fractals in them. If we talk about Yeshua, there's a bunch of people who channel Yeshua that have different aspects of Yeshua within them. Mary, the whole gamut of people. See, buckshot. Back in my day, my college years, I did the other aspect of what you just wrote and drove in the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel on it. That was crazy. Um, but I didn't take it in a time where I was so spiritually advanced where I am now. I took it when I was like just trying to not feel numb anymore and trying to actually love life and see things in a better light. And I think stuff like that helps you open up mentally in different capacities to actually physically be able to see a different reality than what you are living. Even if it's the tree sparkling, it's pretty and you feel elated and it feels great. I miss those days, to be honest. But I don't need that stuff anymore to get to that state. I could sit in meditation and go out into nature and get to those heights of excitement on my own. I don't need something to inhibit those things anymore. But that takes a long time and a lot of practice. Um, Yeshua, so as we are fractaled, right? And I how can I word this right? So in my fractalization of my consciousness, because that's really what it is, you're a little tiny portion of your consciousness is in your body. You're infinite in expression because everything outside of yourself is still you. So you're the tree, you're the rock, you're the blade of grass, you're the sky, you're the air, you're the fire, you're all things because you're any energy. You're just confined in consciousness, light, energy in a body, in a shell. FYI, side note, if you have Netflix, Altered Carbon, watch that show. Holy shit, next level of truth being exposed there. But don't fall for the predictive programming that's within all these shows. So Yeshua was also fractaled from different higher entities when he came and was birthed by Mary. Not only Elohim, Blavatsky doesn't talk about Yeshua in that aspect, but Elohim, Rishis, Dayan Kohans, the Archangel Collective, and actually Lucifer itself, the energy thereof, has claimed to have a big fractal within Yeshua as well. Yeshua walked here to walk the law of one. Unity. If you read Pista Sophia, you see those teachings start coming out from Yeshua. Aaron Apke, I just found him again. He's very big in the law of one, but he ties Yeshua into a lot of his teachings, which is fantastic. Go watch him. He breaks a lot of the stuff that I do down, but I come from a spiritual component. He comes from the Catholic component. Awesome guy. Talks about 4D consciousness. We are living in the Christ consciousness, but Christ is an office. Akiza Enoch has that right. It is an office. I think Awaspi says it, and I think also the Urantia book says it as well. Christ is held in an office. Buddha was a Christ. Muhammad was a Christ. There's a plethora of other Christs that came here. We are not waiting for an entity to come down from the sky or to be incarnate in a human being. It's in all of us. That's no one Messiah is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. And this is why coming back to shame and judgment and the election, tying this all together, we all have to save ourselves. And collectively, we all have to merge together in a bigger understanding. We have to drop the fear and come back with it as love. Reconstructing Reality by Suzanne Lai talks about that. Their Venusian selves are going back into their third density selves, and being the higher self, the fifth density higher self, they're going back into the lives they have lived, because all time space is concurrent. And the decision that went the bad way, the fear-based way, they came back to give it love, to help the ripple of time space clear ancestral timelines. This is when we go back to saying ancestral karma. Okay, but you're clearing a density of karma. Doesn't necessarily mean it's ancestral. As if all time space is here concurrently happening, if you're just clearing dimensional spaces and perceptions that you can't see, that you can't and are not aware of. Yes, Yeshua is within all of us, most of us. If you're in it, I'm in his bloodline. We're in his bloodline. So a lot of people are, and there's a bunch of people that aren't. But if you are in a higher awareness, you're a way shower. You are here to seed the teachings that were misconstrued when Yeshua came here to teach it and preach it. They're misconceived. and that's a big problem. Yeshua came back, fractalized in a lot more people than we can think of. Yes, there's a lot of misconstrued, but again, their perception is theirs. And some people run on an unconscious program where they're just dictating other people's writings and works and documents without going in alignment for themselves and asking and going into meditation and asking their own higher self, does this stick? Does this make sense? Do I actually believe in this, or is this a program that is steering me? Most people, like the teachers and some of the people I work with, are very much in a fear-based program. They allow other things and outside elements dictate to them how to think, how to feel, and they're not doing the inner work to get out of that fear. If you did all that inner work and you still like the woman that is running for president, that's fine. But do not see the layering of the program? Do you understand that you're programmed? We all are. I just believe that the right side is programmed as well, because it's all, for me, in my essence, a movement, that one that stands behind me right there, helped people come to political realizations, even some outwardly interpretations of things. But then we have entities like Bashar saying that if she wins, we're going to have open contact. I have a problem with that. Everybody wants open contact. Here's the problem with that. Are you repeating Eisenhower in the Grenada Treaty in Project Serpo? They come down in their ships. They're already here. That's a big issue. They're here already. Why do we need disclosure? And who the hell is here? We live in polarity. Even if we shifted to 4, polarity is not dead and done and over with until after 6. And that's just my estimation of what I've been coming, all the stuff that I read and all the concepts that I align with, and I go in and ask. I have not read much of Emanuel Swedenborg. I know of his work. See, spirit, my higher selves, and I'm saying that plural, guide me on what to read. So when I started this channel, I was still not where I am today. I have grown in the last 3 years. 3 years ago, I was in disparity, like I am again. Hi, you gotta do everything twice. And Jason Q, a good, like my best friend, started doing his channel, started talking about the keys of Enoch and talking about Owaspy. And when I lost my job, I'm like, well, what can I do? Spirit's like, well, then read it. There's people that can't read the book. They work, they don't have time. Read it. So that's what I started doing. And then as I'm going through other people's work in the spiritual movement, more books kept falling into my lap. And whatever I am able to read without a copyright issue, I read. And then the other books, like The Law of One, I do my insights on. and a lot of different books come into my into divine timing for me to read for humanity to hear. Um, I have heard of Monroe. Yes, it did. WASP-A, in my estimation, in my opinion, is a Orion constellation perception. I'm not going to give a race because I think it's multi-layered in the race that projected that channeling. The Urantia book also is channeled, and that's also from another species of alien that is giving you your perception of, and there is things in there that have a lot of truth to it, but a lot of inversions and a lot of program steering. I do have a lot of people who are diehard either one of those books, who also, the reason why I read them on my channel is to get you out of the one book paradigm. Because not any teaching, any religion, they have things in there that are correct. There's a lot of inversions in a lot of writings because it's a perception. And there is no right or wrong. Whatever you perceive is your right to perceive it that way. That's how God is experiencing this world through you. That's the difficulty in understanding. You can't take everything literally. You have to go within to see what aligns with you. A WASP does not align with me. I don't even like saying some of the words because it's in, who knows? And I don't think it's Anunnaki language, but whoever the social memory complexes that did come down to seed the races after Atlantis, they were one of them, and the Urtites were the other. Amongst the Syrians, Palladians, and they're in polarity as well. So many of them have good and bad components. Not all Palladians are happy little beings trying to save humanity. We get into a delusion because we listen to certain popular people who go off onto Ganymede and go off into Andromeda and go onto these ships, and they have experiences. And I'm not taking that away from them, but they're planting in programming and narratives. In order for us to ascend and to be a part of a galactic or other worlds, as Nos Confunden would tell you, the other spheres of existence that are outside the ice wall. Okay, if those civilizations are there, we first have to realize what we are first. We have to understand our power, we have to understand our abilities, and we need to understand each other. We are not there yet. We have beings who are trying to help steer us in a positive direction, but we also have false light. We have deceivers who will appear to be good, like entities like Bashar. And I'm not saying Bashar is wrong, and a lot of the things he says I align with. But when you are steering a whole population of people to say, oh, she's going to bring open contact, that's a problem. You should not be meddling in a prediction because that's a potentiality that could or could not happen. We humans manifest our reality. Once you understand that very simple concept, if enough of us actually do the work to put action into motion to have a cause and effect, yeah, I can go to on November 5th to go vote and put my vote in a box. Okay, but I need to actually do a lot more with my energy to make that come to fruition. It's the same thing with winning the lottery. You have to put a lot of feeling and emotional states and frequency out into the ether for you to even win a lotto. You might win $50 off a scratch off, but are you winning the $10 billion that they're handing you? Most people, no, never. Also, did you write it in your soul contract? What we all need to realize is that even the Akashic records is potentialities of a timeline. Did you jump on? So if someone reads my Akashic records today, it might change tomorrow because I might have changed my mindset or changed a belief system in me that now elevates me to a different timeline with a different storyline. See how that works? Yes, the Akashic Records has all the potentialities of you, but if you get a reading from somebody that's sitting in your frequency field to give it to you, they're only reading your frequency field of the now moment. And they can only see what's on your trajectory in that now moment. But if I change something within my day, my routine, my job, I just shifted a timeline. What happens then? The Akashic Records then change because I just opened up a new book on a new chapter. Is their reading wrong? No, their reading isn't wrong. Is their reading all precise? No, and it won't be. Yes, it's reconstructing reality. And then Visions of Venus is the second book to, well, it's the first book. Visions of Venus gives you more of the story. And then Reconstructing Reality gives you a whole complexity of that. It's a fantastic book. It's a fantastic book. I highly recommend reading that book. Linda Good McGillis and Alexandra Quinn talk about that book. And as soon as they did, I'm like, whoa, need to read it. Amazing. I have a bunch of her other books, but I haven't had time to actually do my personal reading. Yeah, this is the conundrum that I'm in, Leah, with money. I don't like it. I don't like it. I think we give too much meaning to it. Um, yeah, money is not my friend. And I'm gonna say this, in my contract, and I'll get to the keys that Enoch, I'll show you. In my contract, I wrote and I think this is for all of us. I could speak for a lot of you that are in the chat. A lot of us wrote really difficult lives. We wrote the traumatic childhood. We wrote really traumatic events. We wrote some illnesses. I wrote rheumatoid arthritis and hypothyroidism and allergies, right? We all have really heavy shit to clear. Mine, this lifetime happens to be one of the major lessons I need to learn was self-love. And then overdoing for others and not having balance. And that's where I see myself now. Is that because I am very much selfless, when I have it, I give it without getting really much back in exchange. And I don't need to have an equivalency of right then and there in the moment. But I've helped a ton of people when I had my abundance. My problem is disconnecting from people that I love when that is not back in exchange when I need help. So I'm in that situation now. I'm working. I've never made more than 30,000 a year. I'm one person with some limitations in my body. And I'm working, working, and working, and there's not the energy I put out for others is not being received back to me. I'm not getting the help and the support. I should say more support from what and who I pour my essence into. And this is not the everyday person. This is people that I actually do a shit ton for. And it seems like I'm either forgotten or ignored and only, used sometimes for what I can do for them, but the exchange is not equated on the back end. So, um, so Jason Q is doing the Keys at Enoch series on Gnostic TV. And yes, guys, I'm like Jack Lander. I do have a puffer, which I have to start quitting on Sunday. He's Enoch. This took me 5 months to read, 5 months to discern. And then when I read Ashiana Dean's Voyagers book, and I still have to go back and reread her work it's just as massive as Urantia and the Waspy. This book goes into Enoch in a different light. It goes into metaphysics, it goes into physics, it goes into the oversoul, it goes into a lot, the White Brotherhood, it goes into the Torah, it goes into fire letters, it goes into the Alpha Omega. So one of the keys to the Sons of Light are given in the transmissions of living energy codes within the people of God. They are sent from living universe to living universe to reveal the codes of light to the orders of evolving species within cellular time so that the code nuclei membranes may attach with the larger membrane of universes, which for us would mean that our logos, the sun, is a gateway and a portal where most of us have stemmed from. And that light coming from our central sun is upgrading our cellular DNA to enhance the strains. We're not having 2 strains of DNA. Many of us are already 12, 48 strains. I'm probably around 36 to 40 strains upgraded right now in my physical vehicle. And that's just me guessing. And that's etherical DNA. If I go get my blood work done, which I hate going back into the matrix, I really damn do. No choice at the moment. I had to go get a blood test. They're only going to read 2 strains of my DNA because that's all they can physically see with their instrumentation. But if you watch my quantum AI metaphysical channeling book, like series that I read articles on, they're still figuring out quantum quarks and gluons, muons, photons, neutrons. They're still figuring that stuff out. So there's a lot of things in this book that I kind of agree with, and some things that I see the inversions on, and that's no fault of JJ Hurtak, right? We all want to believe our higher selves. We all want to believe the entities that are channeled, and he claims not to channel them. I don't know what method he uses, honestly, because we're all channels of information. But he goes into Adam Kadmon. I mean, there's really good stuff in here, and it helps you dispel a couple of things, but it also leaves you with a lot more, in my end, a lot more questions than there are answers. And this was written in 1973. So things have shifted because time space is always forever shifting, expanding, retracting. And it's the information that we choose to absorb and integrate within us that matters. I'm trying to find the page with the Christ diagram. I don't know if I passed it or not. Anyway, while I look for that, hope everybody's having a fantastic night. I found it. Yay. So that's a diagram that JJ has put out. I think a lot of people do get it. Honestly, a lot of conversations I have with Dina in JQ headquarters um deal with a lot of what I talk about here. The problem that I it's not a problem per se. It's where a lot of the alignments are happening with people. A lot of people intellectually know a lot, right? Like I can read a ton of documents, a ton of books and stuff, but I actually integrate my information. I go and sit inside myself to see if any of the information makes sense into my being. What do I align with? What do I actually believe? What is my belief system? Beliefs are just a program and a narrative that help you. All is illusion. So the illusion is there really is no good and evil because it's all God. But yet everybody chooses to take a side where I had to stop taking a side and actually go, okay, so what is it that I believe in? Okay. Objectively, without a bias, without judgment, look at the light and then look at the darkness and see where the fault lines are. And then come into a unity of understanding of where can we find unity in consciousness with the collective to shift. That's my focus. We don't condone the actions of this side, the negative polarity. We don't want their side. We don't like their side. We don't want the destruction, the power over others, the control. We don't want that parity. We don't want that paradigm. We, as human beings, have been manifesting for them for thousands of epochs and millennia. The ending of Lemuria and Atlantis and Tartaria we're not going back to those things. We got to learn from those things. Those are concurrently happening right now. It's for us to heal that ripple for us to shift forward, but we're not going back to Atlantis. We're not going back to Tartaria. We're creating a whole new consciousness and a whole new reality. We're exiting the matrix. Bye, Neo. Hi, Neo. Bye, Neo. Hi, Neo. Bye. Hi. But we're jumping into what we are trying to manifest. But here's the problem. We can't manifest collectively when everybody is taking one side or the other. And then judging and shaming, blaming, name calling all sides when it's source. How do you beat it? Come in union with source. It doesn't matter if you want to believe in the distortion that is the keys of Enoch, you could believe in that. It's great. It's a truth. If you want to believe in the Voyager's books, that is a perception, that is a truth. Oahspe, Urantia, the law of one, Uh, what's that one? The Enuma Elish, L. Ron Hubbard, the Curtis books, all those books behind me. If you want to believe in any one of those paradigms, you have a free will choice to do so. Truth is at the frequency of where you are at, and it's forever expanding. What is happening right now is us going through an ego death that is, most of us went through portions of that ego death. It's not a totality of ego death. Your higher self is merging with your ego. And it's going to work with the ego. It's not going to be repelled by it. Your ego feeds you negativity. Sometimes it works for you if you have trained your brain for it to work for you. But most people, talking generally, their ego works against them. Your higher self is coming into this vehicle. Mine already has. My 6.5 density higher self merged with my self in 2017. The only way I know this was my old self would have self-destructed after my mom passed away. After my mom passed away, I didn't have motivation to live because I didn't know what my purpose was. I felt a humongous void of space within my being because I didn't know what to do. And I had to take each day in the now moment to start understanding that one day that old self would have destructed, exploded. I would have not been here. My higher self had to jump in to save this shell of a human being. I woke up with a different reaction, different feelings, woke up calm, woke up knowing that everything is going to just be okay, even though it's going to suck. And I'm going to walk through a lot of suck and fuckery and shit. I woke up one day and my whole viewpoint of the world changed. It matured. Since my mother's passed, the last 6, 7 years now, I've evolved. My thinking, my projection, my mindset, my reactions to things have changed. And I think a lot of you have had that already happen for you. Someone's behind me. Hi, Freya. Come here. Come say hi to everybody. I don't know if you can hear her. Come here. Here she is. Cow kitty. Cow kitty. Who's gonna be fourth density human? You are. Yes, your animals are upgrading as well. Anybody that has animals out there that can self-identify by looking in a mirror and not jumping and being scared, they most likely will be moving up to human when they pass over. That's just my feeling and my take on that. Oh, Scott David Wilcock. I don't, oh no. I'm not a Wilcock fan. He and Corey, I'll just say his first name. When they were tag teaming, they were all about the law of one and Raw. LL Research, the people who actually wrote the Law of One, I think had a little bit of a problem when people take without permission their work to actually make money off of them by teaching the Law of One in their own perceptions. It's one thing to break down the Law of One and explain it in perception. It's another to rip people off. Aaron Abke has permission because his work is in alignment with the Law of One. Brian Scott has permission to read and to give his intake on the Law of One. Wilcox, for me, is up in the category of Stephen Greer. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. And not saying that Wilcox is all that bad. Yes, he has helped people awake into some concepts, yes. But you know, you're funny, Buckshot. Yes, keeping an open mind is very important because all sources of information should be taken and explored. Absolutely. For me, there's certain things that I repel that my essence will not allow me to touch. El Sunray, yes. I should have worn my FAFO shirt. I have it. Um, there are books that I have that I open up and try reading, and it just doesn't, can't. And there's other books I can absorb in a day. Um, mm, mm. I'm going to say the same thing about a couple of other people, especially the people who are the Emerald Tablet people. I'm no Stitchin fan, but Stitchin got some of it right and some of it wrong. Our Billy Boy Archaics exposed him. Bad. And I actually don't align with a lot of Jason Brashear's work, but I do to certain extents. I like people who expand their mind, that do research, but we have to understand everything is perception and everything is subjective. We live by laws of nature and laws of karma and laws of the universe. And those get very distorted very quickly when money comes in exchange. When you have a person out there maybe 2 to 3 years ago, still very big. A lot of people listen to every word this lady says, talking about why you shouldn't channel. And it's so dangerous that only she could do it. And the implant in her head tells her it's okay. That's something to question. Is her information in some of her books right? It is. Not saying it's not taken away. Her experience is away from her. Sure, I believe they happen. But what agenda and what narrative is being steered? That's really the crux of where a lot of issues come from. Yeah, 2017, I believe a lot of us had a shift in consciousness, but also a shift in our higher selves coming down to prepare us for now. Right. We as a soul choose our circumstances, we chose our families, we chose our story. And we sitting upstairs, yes. Tinkerbell. Love it. Our higher selves sit upstairs with our guide that brings us into a physical vehicle and gets acquainted with our fetus. That will be eventually ourselves. And we come in and out through with the guide, the silver cord, and we prepare for what is to come. When you pass over, you have choices. You could learn the choices up there, or you can learn them and go back down and clear your karma. The problem with their density is we have the veil of forgetting, because if we knew all of our storylines, we would have a null and void, boring life because we would already have accomplished it all. Third density is a choice that we all made to explore with limitation and suffering without remembering. And the reason for that is so that we can come to a conscious point to remember. That's where we're at, is remembering who we actually are in essence and going back and merging up. So we were with source, we fell, there's the hourglass, here's the triangle, right? You're up here with source. You experience the rishis, you experience the higher realms of celestials, archangels, angels. You've been them all, and then you densified into a material form. And then you worked your way up from first, second, and now you're in third density. Now we're going up to fourth. You're going to go back up to source. Most of us have done this multiple times. We just don't remember. And now a lot of us are starting to remember components of it, not in a totality sense. And even when you pass over in this physical shell and move your consciousness on, you're not going to know it all. You're going to know a bigger portion of it, but each density brings new learning, new teaching, new experiences for you to transcend, for you to learn from. That's all God source wants to do, is experience different densities and different emotionalities through you individually, until you become unified with the social memory complex that was with Ra, not to be confused with the Ra that was the God that of the Elohim that came down to, I'm going to be Anubis. Ra social memory complex is Hatan, Latui, and different entities, Quo, that speak in unison. So each density has an experience that when the channeler, and that at that moment was Carla, she was getting one voice, but with a whole mixed bag of information from each density merged into one. And that's where a lot of us will sit one day in time space, in cognizance, being aware of it, is merging into a social memory complex. So you're still individualized, you still have your personality, you still have all the experiences that you've walked through, and you will then impart it as a group collective onto a lower density aspect of a humanity that you're going to help. Just like Ra tried helping all the way back after Atlantis fell and the survivors moved to Egypt, he came down to steer them as the giants and the Palladians steered the Scandinavians. The Vedics had their own alien race come down and social memory complex steer them, and how the Norse and the Indian Vedics have the same almost identical stories with the same identical gods, just different names and different events, but still the concepts are there and it's the same. So you got people all the way up in the north with one paradigm, one cultural story, the dramatic pagans, and then you got the people over here in India, all the way over here. How the hell their story is the same? Just about. Manly P. Hall. Go read that book. That I read, that took forever, but The Secret Teaching of All Ages is an incredible book. And Blavatsky breaks down the Vedic stuff. Is she right? A lot of it isn't right. Or the concepts are there, but they're just teaching learnings for us to take away from, in all that honesty. Excuse you, Missy. What are you doing back there? I'm shocked Odin has not come up yet to say hi. Sorry, guys, I'm just checking. Yeah, so the crux of the entire reason why I also popped on, we just had a full moon in Aries. We had a full moon in Aries. And boy, the energies are killing. Energies are cray. Why? Because we're falling into a new epoch. When we get out of the limitation and the separation that we are all separate and we stop hating and feeding that other side of God evil shit, stop feeding the hate. Like I said, it doesn't matter who, in my estimation and proclamation, it's only steering a timeline. We can dictate a change if we all came together to dictate the change. Is Trump riding on his white horse to save the humanity? It's one of his missions, but will it be accomplished? I don't know. He's not the sole heir of that contract. A bunch of people are. You are no different from him. As much as people put him on pedestals and podiums, and the other side puts their people on podiums and pedestals, are we back to the ancient times of idolatry? Are we now? I have cards on my light board. Are we back to being idolatrous? I mean, let's just face it. Oh, I love drums. I have two drums. I love drum circles. I go outside in my backyard to honor my native. I mean, I'm in Indiana. Um, Indian. Uh, I'm still lacking. I was supposed to find the Potawatomi tribe. They were one of the original tribes that were in my area. And I'm trying to still find people to clear the ley line over here. It's an axle-tonal ley line that needs to be cleared. And good luck trying to find somebody that will take me serious, as spiritual as they are. And a lot of the spiritual people that I run into around here that are awake and that have awareness and that are amazing, beautiful souls are still in their trapped ego. And I I get red flags all the time from them. I sage you all with the love and light of the one infinite creator. I love Sage. Anywho, yeah. Love the Native Americans. I actually, when I lived on Staten Island, had a Native American pictured coming out of my TV at the time. And then I had a Civil War soldier that helped protect my house because I had a Stargate. Native Americans are amazing. The nation's people, whatever they want to be called. I'm not here to disrespect them. I don't know about you guys. I'm sorry, I'm going off topic here, but this is so I'm when I'm at work, I am not allowed on my phone. I only check my phone very scarcely. Fridays a little bit more often than usual. Why? Because, like I have anybody of importance telling me things. Um, don't miss the deadline to vote by mail. Sign up or check your request. I don't know how many of you are getting these spam mails and calls all day long because I sure damn am. It's very crazy. And also to the people that watch Little Thor, that's my cat. I get a lot of those. What? Then you're a really bad owner if I'm feeding your cat, not your cat. I'm also shadow banned on Rumble, by the way. And this seems to be also shadow banned on YouTube because I'm close to being monetized. That just means I'm getting money when an ad runs on my channel. Whatever. And that would be passive income for me. And the watch hours are going down, not up. Make that make sense, YouTube. Because you don't like my light. You don't like it. Makes me sad. Sorry, guys, I'm just getting cards. Getting my cards off the floor. Oh, cards off the floor. Yeah. Why I pull cards is twofold to help everybody know what we're working with, get some encouragement going in the collective. Honestly, from all of being young, being adopted, and never identifying with my birth parents were Southern Baptist, and my adoptive family is Jewish. Both my parents are passed away, and I was only adopted at 2 months old, so I only know of my two parents. I know my biological family now, but that took 34 years to find. Once again, though, I use 23andMe and Ancestry.com. I'm still here. So once again, polarity. They have all of our DNA. If I'm cloned, that's fucking fantastic. That means there's a whole bunch of me running around spreading the light. Cute. Think about that. If they're doing something nefarious, it isn't God's will. I needed those tests because it was the cheapest avenue to find my birth family because my adoption was closed. I did not know about my life, my birth, anything until I found my family when they told me what happened to my mother and my father is still alive. Do I talk to him? No. Do I have a cordial relationship with him? Sure. But if it wasn't for those tests, I wouldn't know my ultimate truth. So here's the thing. I take everything in neutral now. I'm not looking at it as a bad thing or a negative thing. I needed to know my truth. That is a huge truth that I needed to learn and know from to know why I'm here. The next one was the Stargate. once I found out that I lived on a Stargate, my whole life started making sense. Why was I seeing things? Why have I experiencing things? Why was I the only one to be able to see things and no one else around me? I'm not alone in these things. I just happen to have the realization of them. And when you do the work on yourself, you're going to start finding these things for you. Because we wrote those things in for us. I do not have any Philip Dick books. I don't have his stuff. There's a lot. Listen, I would have a library, like a huge room full of books if I could afford it. I like to actually have physical books, even though some of the books I have PDF form and I have to read off of the screen, like The Secret Doctrine and what else? A lot of the Curtis books. And there's a lot of books people recommend to me that are over $100 because they're out of print and they're very hard to find. Um, I cannot afford it. Like the Keys of Enoch is $50 off the site. Like that alone was one of the most expensive books that I bought, besides all the art history books on the bottom of that shelf that were over $500. Gotta love going to art school. Neutrality just sits you in, yeah, and it does dispel potential harm. But did you write the harm in for yourself? We have to have experience, and to understand the experience, it's what we prefer over what we don't prefer. So if we don't know what we don't prefer, we have to experience it in order to know that's not really what we want. That's why it's not necessarily karma when you keep having failed relationships or failed jobs and careers. It's because you're just learning what you're always going to learn something from all those failures. And they're not necessarily, in my estimation, failures. They're just a way, an avenue of you exploring. I love tangible books. And I mark my books up like this is I don't even one of my other Nisha books is destroyed. Destroyed. But like I mark my books up with pasties and stuff. Okay. I don't make this shit up, guys. 17. 17. I just randomly flipped to a pasty. Don't know, don't care. The most spiritual human beings, assuming they are the most courageous, also by experience, by far the most painful tragedies. But it is precisely for this reason that they honor life, because it brings against them its most fathomable weapons. I don't make this shit up. Man really mirrors himself in things. That which give him back his own reflection he considers beautiful. The judgment beautiful is his conceit of his species. I love his work. I know a lot of people don't like him, but yeah, love his work. Um, I'm hoping I have not a crazy day tomorrow. Crossing fingers so that I can get a Law of One reading out. my insights on, because we're on book 4, and that is a juicy, juicy book. So when I read them 20 years ago, when I was in college, I read them out of sync and I didn't really integrate a lot of what was read because I didn't understand it in depth. I understood it base level. That's the problem I have with a lot of people, that they read things and they understand it intellectually, but they're not integrating it with the spiritual connotation behind it. And they're not emoting it. They just spew it out to you, but they don't practice what they preach. We all have faults, and not everybody, even Aaron Nabke, I'm sure, falters here and there when he goes into the law of one. It's only by doing and practicing and walking your truth, you're going to have pitfalls. You're going to mess up once in a while, and that's okay. That's to challenge you to get back on your path. But you should integrate the things that you align with and walk it, talk it, emote it. Because when you see those spiritual truths or those political truths, if it's not coming from an authentic, trustful soul, it's null and void. It doesn't make a difference who says it. When you say something with your authentic self, your frequency is emoting to other people. They integrate it within them, and then they go, oh, okay, I don't align with this. I'm going to leave it over here on the outside of me. Or, ooh, this information really syncs with me. I'm going to align with it. Now I'm going to integrate it within my being so that I could practice it or I can learn from it, whatever the case. I, my higher self is funny. And I think a higher ended being is channeling through me right now. I don't know which one to go first. Damn it. Healing! Yin yang! Be illuminated by love and truth. Oh, wrong card. Healing. Right now, healing is taking place to support your understanding of the gifts in your experiences, weird or difficult. Circumstances can often be a fast path to your desires. Until we recognize subtle imbalances, the best way to clean up outdated beliefs is to have our buttons pushed. Buttons pushed. Buttons are created by continued attention to unbalanced thoughts, ideas, or beliefs. Every time we are reminded of or talk about a hurt, it pushes a button and it reopens a wound that we are yet to heal. Wounds are created by mental, spiritual, or physical trauma. Poking at them will prolong the healing process. Leave them alone. So balance can be restored and wholeness can return. Inspired action for healing may include seeing a therapist, consulting a medical professional, or spending time in the ocean. Focusing on what you love is also healing. All is perfect in every moment, even if we can't see it at the time. I align with some of that, but not all of it. You need your buttons pushed. You need your buttons pushed. And I believe this election is going to push a damn shit ton of buttons for so many. It doesn't matter what side. So many buttons are going to be pushed. And it's how we react to when those buttons are pushed that's going to shift the healing on humanity. The I told you so isn't going to work, isn't going to help heal. Is it going to help walk unity? Yeah, sure. I would love to tell everybody that thought I was going to kill them by not taking a jab, people I love. I'm sure all of you sitting at home had people that really, literally, really believed you were going to kill them because you didn't do that. Seriously, they were in real deal fear. I forgive all of them. And I love all of them. And I send them the love and the healing they need to overcome that fear. I don't care if they see me as whatever, I'm going to kill them. If that's how they perceive me, I don't need to be in your life. But I still love you and you can stay over there. I'm not feeding your shit. That's the attitude we need to have with the negative polarity. I don't condone your shit, but I am not feeding you energy so you can continuously do your shit show side circus. You keep feeding their shit, it manifests. You keep seeding, oh my God, 5G, it's going to kill us. It's going to kill you because you're putting the frequency out there. Your thoughts become things. You want to heal? You do the work on yourself. You change your mindset. You change your patterning. You change the way you perceive yourself in the mirror. You can find all the faults you want. Why aren't we thinking of the positives first? You can weigh your pros and cons. We all have them. But until you start accepting your flaws as something as God wanted to experience through you, which is all perfect and great, you're not healed. And if you are, you're at a certain frequency of healing. Just like truth is a frequency, it's a vibration. If I pluck a string on a guitar, think of a vibration that way. And the sound being emoted as a frequency. You're going to get the base level at where it goes when you pluck that string. Think of truth that way and think of healing the same. You're only going to go to the frequency of which you're emoting. You control what you are emoting. You control your vibrations. You control the thoughts in your head for the most part. So what are you actively choosing to think in your everyday moments? And people who, and most of us have hit the rock bottom, the abyss, ready to jump off the cliff. If you read Carlos Castaneda and the Active Side of Infinity, he jumps into the void because he took the leap of faith. He had to recapitulate all the trauma in his journey through the desert with his shaman to undo all the rights and the wrongs and make everything on the right path for him. He had to go into the shadow. He had to see the dark entities before he could see the light. He had to understand the journey. We're all going through the journey. You're going to see the dark. You have to learn from the dark. You have to understand it. You have to understand whys, the deeper whys, in order for you to comprehend that it's an illusion and that it's null and void. It's still God. And if you want to think of God as energy, it's all energy. You have a positive pole and a negative pole. You have a feminine side and a masculine side. We live in duality, but what polarity are you feeding? This is where a lot of people stray away from because they forget about the teaching learning. Then they go, well, F these people, they're horrible. They're the ones raping and doing things to kids. Okay, great. And why are they doing it to the kids? And what happens if you find out in a past life regression by Dolores Cannon's method that you were one of these people that did that heinous shit? What are you going to do to yourself? If you found out that you were in a past life that, or that rapist, or that murderer, how would you look at yourself in the mirror the same? Would you forgive yourself because that's an experience you needed to have in another life? You needed to have that bad experience. You needed to be the victim and the victimizer. If we want to move forward, we can't play that role anymore. We can't be victim or victimizer because it's not going to work. If you were evil in another lifetime and you chose to do better in this one, that's your lesson. Some people were really good in a plethora of lives and chose some dark lives to live to help awaken the story. Take the emotionality out of it. Getting back to our yin and yang. Nothing has gone wrong. An obstacle launches new loving requests. In the last few days, a change came out of the blue. Maybe. It may have felt like your body and mind moved through a crack in reality as your life altered course so suddenly. Deep within you, you have been craving change, and this situation brings new and different experiences to your life. You may be feeling a little lightheaded and dazzled by the brilliance of this expanded version of you, but you are doing so well. It is now time to catch your breath and settle in your new outlook. This is an opportunity to look at your thoughts, ideas, and reactions to your potential success. As you become aware and implement change, you can rise above the limits people or situations have placed on you. This card depicts the trigram of the I Ching, the Book of Changes. With a yin yang symbol, this is a reminder that everything changes, that nothing can exist on our physical plane without its opposite in third density, and neither is superior to others. You can't stop anything that has manifested, but you can serve as an inspiration to create new paths aligned with your soul truth. Mic drops. Thank you, Judy, for these. Bingo! Everything I spoke about today, cards bring it. I don't make this shit up. It's scary at times. It's really scary. Not really scary. It's just showing you guys that I'm tapped in. Most of us have are now seeing it. Most of us are now elevating our awareness. And there's a lot of people still not there yet. And I have faith. It's why I still stick around in certain shows. Wink, wink. I stick around, but I'm not actively participating much anymore. And a lot of people don't know, maybe should know, it's because I cannot feed the hate that comes out of a lot of people's typing. It's one thing to have a perception, and it's one thing to dispute hate and utter hate. I can't do it anymore. It's not because I don't love people. I do so much. But it's because I'm not here to manifest their agendas anymore. I'm not here to feed a program anymore that's not going to serve me. I have to serve myself in order to serve humanity. And I rather take the more mature route and just be a inactive participant and still do Amish mindset and still help and be there for people, but do it in a different way. My kitties are going bonkers. I don't know if you heard that. I got cards everywhere that don't belong. Let's get some from the angels. Oh, I love you guys. Thank you. Archangel Uriel. Archangel Uriel works on the ruby ray. That's our, which is made up of the purple and gold. It is the ray of wisdom and spirituality. You are blessed to attract this angel card, for he will bring you serenity, love, tranquility, and peace. You, in your turn, are invited to spread these beautiful qualities to others. Connecting with Archangel Uriel will enable you to inspire to oneness with all humanity. I don't make this shit up. This is a high state of grace, which will bring you freedom and joy. Visualize yourself in a purple and golden cloak and invoke Archangel Uriel's help to raise your consciousness. So I want to say maybe 8 to 9 months ago, I had Archangel Sandalphon working through me. I already had Hallel. Hallel's a mainstay with me, but he takes his energy back and allows the other archangels to work through me. I already had Michael, Raphael. Gabriel's also my mainstay. And now Uriel has been working with me. I am one of my parts of a large fractal that's in this body is an archangel. That's why I make those claims that I'm an archangel incarnate. That's because they're directly working with and through me. Through me. That's not to say that I don't have other entities that work with me, but they're a mainstay, and that's a bigger part of my soul chunk that has incarnated here. Sorry, guys. So I had to change my outfit today because when I was at work, I usually have either kids peeing and they're not diapered, or they're crying and spitting, drooling, and all over the place. So, yeah. Hope. Hope indicates that the sun is about to come out in an area of your life. The angel wisdom reminds you that your spirit is immensely resilient and powerful. So keep faith with your dreams and visions. Remember, the universe wants you to have your heart's desire. That's why I'm being persistent. It is simply waiting for you to believe you deserve it before the angels bring it to you. Do your part by deciding what you truly want. Then send out positive thoughts for the changes you seek for the fulfillment of your wishes. Ask the angels for help, and they will fan the sparks of potential and bring them to life. Hope is magnetic quality, which attracts the great and beautiful into your life. Hope. If we expand this to hope for humanity and hope for the new age, hope for the new epoch, hope for everybody to come together, not to kumbaya. No one's ever going to see the world the same. right, left, up, down, going to see different perspectives, but we all can come into a commonality. Things do need to change. Everybody's going to have a different perception of it. Some people are going to go with the NESARA GESARA route. Some people are going to have the carrot on the stick dangling. But you're not physically doing anything to bring your dreams into manifestation. For me, right? Took me 2 years. I had to get it all out. I had to move. I lost it all. That was the universe telling me I needed a fucking change. That alone was the catalyst for me. Listen, this isn't working. The first job I worked at the YMCA. You know what made me get out of there? I almost died in the pool from anaphylactic shock. That was the universe's way of saying you're on the wrong path, girl. This is not for you. Second job. You can't be in New York anymore. You gotta go. What happens? I lose it all. Move to Indiana. Here I am. Okay, yeah, we're gonna make it really, 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 really tough. But this is what your soul asked for. Now you have to actually put and apply faith, which I am, and I'm using it in different avenues. Like, hi, I'm an artist. I went to art school. My degree is hanging up over there. I make signage. I paint feathers. I make things for the house. I create. I make pyramids. I was told by our friend Laura yesterday that I'm really cheap with my pyramids, that I showed her my website and they were like, whoa. She's like, somebody I know that makes pyramids like you, they sell them for over $400. I'm like, well, I can't do that consciously, knowing that I put my hands on things and I give my frequency out in those things. And when someone receives it and needs it, they receive the frequency of what they need. So I do need an energy exchange. Sure. Would I like to charge $300-400 for those things? Absolutely, sure. But that's not practical for me to do. Okay, FYI, Buckshot, I haven't had your carrot cake, but I don't want you to dangle that shit in front of me because I'm gonna try to eat it. And I will obtain it one day. Dingleberries as well. But at least you get to wipe those and flush them away. Yeah. So people are stuck in the negative. My whole thing with the light positive side, the white hats. Okay. My problem with them is that that should have been stopped then and there with him and even earlier presidents. We've had this problem for a long time, and yeah, we have things going on behind the scenes, but how real is that really happening? Right. And then the speculation comes out, and then all the programming comes out, and then everybody who is really authentically trying to put it all together and make assessments of it. As you can see, I just want you guys to think of something. There are some people in the community that I've reached out to personally when shit hit the fan for me and I stood up for my rights and I lost it all. JQ was the only one to come to my help. Everybody I reached out for help for, whether it be, do you know someone that can get me a job? I wasn't asking for financial assistance. I was asking for a job. I like to work. I'm not a lazy F. I need to be busy. I'm by myself alone. I need to be busy. And yes, my cats help, but I still need to keep my mind in check. He's the only one to help. Out of all the people that I reached out to. So all the other people that are making six figures doing pyramid scheme businesses, whether they're good or bad, it's none of my business, and I'm not here to judge that. And everybody has a path. I choose not to indulge in those things. I think it's a lot of it's scammy, but you're only making someone else on top of you richer and richer. And is this stuff really healthy? And can I find it naturally and for cheaper? I'm sure. A lot of the people that you're seeing is dangling information in front of you like a stick. The debt clock being one of them. Oh my God, we already know, like JQ, Jack, and a bunch of others have already like blown the top off of the financial system. Why are we going to a site every Tuesday out of anticipation for what information are you trying to find? You know the truth already. Your soul knows the truth already. It's inside you. You know already. It's just remembering those factoids. I was told by my parents and higher self that I would have to work the rest of my life. I wasn't going to get a handout. I wasn't going to get financial abundance. I would have to work really hard the rest of my life. If I would have sat back and waited for the dangling carrot to keep dangling, oh, this is going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I would have been homeless and dead. I don't have anybody to fall back on. I don't have parents that can put me up in their house. I don't have family that gives a shit. I don't have family that can actually afford to even take me in if they needed, if I had to give up this house. I would not have a place to go. And that's saying that no one would take me in. Of course, people would take me in, but family. I don't have what other people have. I don't have an extensive family that would take me in or save the day. I already went through that lesson. I don't have it. I'm by myself. I don't have other income. I don't have a husband to help me. It's just me, right? And there's a lot of people out there grabbing at your attention. Oh, look at the debt clock. Pretty dog, pretty bird, pretty bird. Dumb and Dumber. That was a great scene. We already know the truth. So why do we allow that dangling carrot to continue to dangle? Why? Listen, as much as I would be so thrilled to get all the money that I had to put out illegally in my taxes, in my inheritance, in the sale of my house, so that I could get back on my feet. What do you tell the people up in Gary, Indiana, who's never seen $100,000 in their life? What do you tell them when they go to the mall and just outbuy everything because they have no concept of having that kind of money? We're not there yet. Oh, the banks are going to close. This is going to close. This is this all this negative stuff. So you're going to be the one patriot that has all food stocked, you have everything stocked, but you don't have it for 100,000 people in your community, or even 10,000 people in your community, or the 25 people, depending where you are in the United States or in the world, matter that. Do you have enough for others or just for yourself? And are you willing to be prepared to defend what you have, because that's another component. Once they know you have it, they're going to come and get it. Do you really think they're going to do that? I honestly don't think so. Are they going to stop humanity? I don't see it. I don't see it. They're doing it in collective places. Those are divinely inspired by source because things had to move. Death is a fear that everybody still owns. I don't own it. Some people don't own it because we know we're transpiring. We're moving forward. Are you moving forward? Yes. Your energy. You can't die. You just transform. So detach from the fear of death. If a natural disaster happened and that's how you wrote your contract in for you to go that way, you went that way. My best friend died of cancer, osteosarcoma. He was 24 years old. He lost his leg at 17 years old. He went through hell. And you know what? He said, that's my contract. I was supposed to teach everybody around me how to have more compassion. He didn't even know what the fuck he was talking about, but that's what he said. And boy, is he in spirit right. He said it while he was alive. Had no concept of spiritual conception. Zero. He was just being his authentic self and saying those things. Holy shit. Did he know? That's the mission he signed up for. We all have a mission. We all signed up for it. Once you can understand that everybody has a soul contract and everybody has a mission and everybody's here having a purpose, whether it be a negative purpose or a positive purpose, it's all for experience and learning. Sorry, not sorry. And that's a truth that sucks ass. But it's a truth nonetheless. Why does it suck ass? Because a lot of people can't come to the realization of it. They can't actually integrate it in their being. They can't see it. Because they go right back to 3D. And that's going to take time for humanity to get back. Very unhealthy, by the way. But the last 2 weeks, the pain in my body, oh, what am I needing to heal? What is coming back up into my healing? I'm on this journey just like everybody else. I am a human that needs to heal and needs to go through my little shit and stir the pot to see what needs to come up in healing. I'm physically really in bad shape. Not because I'm sitting on my butt. It's because I am literally physically picking kids up and doing the helicopter and rocking them and holding them and getting bit and hit and kicked. That's the art of an autistic child. They're the upgraded kids. I'm holding their frequency. I'm already getting kids to talk that haven't talked. It took me a year with one kid to get progress. Now it's taken me like 3 months. I only been working 3 months. I already have kids talking and pronouncing their letters. They're upgrading. Some of them can telepathically talk, others can't. This is the shift that we need. We're going to have more and more kids, and we want to call it damaged because of the vax and because of this and because of that. Yeah, I see the problems, but it's taking the problems that are here now and transmuting them. Instead of just making and giving a label to something, oh, the kid is autistic. Okay, but they're upgraded. How are we treating these kids? How are we getting them us to understand them and them to understand us. We have a middle ground. We have to get there. It's by modeling better behavior. Scott, I gotta go to sleep. I'm at the end. I'm the tail end. I'm at the tail end. I'm tired. I was up at 5:15 this morning, which is nothing because I used to wake up at 3:30. I mean, I'm going to read them both, but this one first. Tenderness. The energy of tenderness activates our capacity to open our hearts and approach the world and each other with gentleness and care. Why I read this first is because this is what I'm enacting in my everyday world in the 3D. This is me going into the classroom with teachers who see everything opposed to what I view the world as. And I come into a neutral space so that I'm giving them love and I'm giving them the understanding. I'm giving them their space to express themselves, whether I accept their perceptions or not. I think Odin is coming to join us. Let me move my sage. Yes, Odin's here. Transparency. The energy of transparency supports our expansion toward a higher vibrational state of being with more insight, honesty, and clarity. So I don't talk about my political affiliation without saying my political affiliation, but I do, hi baby, talk about it. Where are you? Come say hi to everybody. Don't run off. He's right here. Come over here. Come here. See? That's Odin. Spirit's bringing it. He's probably sniffing around the spirits around. Which honestly, that month when Morgan passed and the few months after Morgan passed until I got them, the activity in my house was bananas. It is so calm and peaceful. It's great. And not to say that that's a part of my spiritual work I have to go into and start really fine tuning. It's just not my divine timing for it yet. I can pass on things. I have passed on my mother. It was beautiful, scary, but beautiful. I mean, every time I do a video, I want to see, yeah, getting the same cards almost. What I just pulled. Chaos and conflict. That is on our outside world. This is what we're purging energetically from inside of us is reflecting out. That's the Circus Sideshow that is playing in theaters near you. Do not feed this. Do not feed it. Why? When you ask the deeper questions of the why are they acting out? Why do they think the way they do? Analyze it and go deep without judgment. Very hard to do. But like I have to say, my teacher who's very on the left, her whys are out of fear. But I have to respect that fear because that's what she's running on. whys. Ask yourself the deeper why questions of your own existence. Just like a 2-year-old. Why, mommy? Why? 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 There's a reason why they ask why. Do they comprehend the deeper why? Not just yet. Ask yourself like a 2-year-old why a million times. You'll get your answers. Got this the last one. Time to go. We're at the precipice. This is the precipice. This full moon, this is a blood moon. It was out this morning. I took pictures. In Aries, this is the first zodiac. We're starting a cycle. We're playing the rest of this shit show out, but it's time to go and it's time to merge into the new paradigm. We have to create it. 5 of us aren't creating it. It needs to be en masse in order for the shift to happen. Why? Because we are blessed. We are divinely all orchestrated to come together in this time of now to raise the frequency of the planet, to raise her into fourth, to raise ourselves into fourth, and to help aid the shift and clean up the crap. We didn't create it. Maybe in another life, in another density, multiversal plane of existence, we created it. But we're here in this paradigm, in this reality to clean it up. So it's all up to us to collectively come together. And how we do that is by taking the information, integrating the information, and then seeding other people with the information and growing that seed. Listening to different people, different explorations, different perceptions. I listen to a ton of people. Aaron Apke. Hi, Auntie Amy to Thor. I listen to Aaron Apke, Alexandra Quinn, Linda Good McGillis. She's fantastic. She's not out there often, but when she does, holy crap, she's good to listen to. I listen to Brian Scott. He introduces me to a lot of different people. Whether it's channeling or not, they all have juicy truth amongst some inversions. So it's coming in and understanding a bigger picture. Hi, Auntie Amy. Thank you for coming. Little Thor did not come for dinner today. He did eat. I don't know. I'll see what tomorrow brings because that little, he's coming later because he knows I just throw the food out before I leave for work. And once in a while he'll come for seconds in the afternoon. He didn't come today. I was gonna go live earlier because I'm tired. But my goodness. You see, I'm live, Amy, because I need to do a different approach. See, if things don't work, I got to take a new avenue and try something new, making a change. And now I'm making a change. I'm not going to go live every time, but we got to go live. I'm going to do this deck, and then I'm going to close off, and then we'll call it a day. Create, move, values. Don't know why that says that. It doesn't make sense, but let's read it. Be bold and pinpoint your outlook. Don't be afraid to show your true colors. because you are unique and this will differentiate your values from social norms. Be honest. Confrontation is needed in this situation. Be true to yourself. Get straight to the point from which has led you to the current problems and solve it. Yes, but when you are being honest, like I'm an Aries, I'm brutal in my truth. And it took me a long time to lessen my brutalization on people. So I'm still being respectful with just telling my truth, but saying it in a way that isn't going to like hurt somebody's feelings, because that's not my intention. I don't want to hurt someone's feelings because they are allowed to have their perception. They're allowed to have their beliefs. They're allowed to be steered in the program. Look at Neo. Even though it's simulated, he jumps in and out of the matrix and he is interacting with other selves in the matrix. He's giving them compassion because where they are at, they're not ready to unplug. And you have to come into that realization and give that compassion to those people. Even if you spew your truth, you got to do it respectfully, with grace, and with your authenticity. But I told you so isn't going to work, because that's just throwing it in their face. Watch your steps. This situation requires a more specific and detailed plan before carrying out, as there might be some unexpected occurrences. Be careful so you will be able to complete it after all. It flew out of my hand for a reason, probably. I have to brighten the mood up somehow. Be confident. Make more eye contact and spontaneous communication. Open your chest and take a deep breath to activate more self-confidence. You are simply amazing. Damn straight, old of you are. Yes, Amy, that's a problem with many of us Aries and fire sign. I mean, most people. This is the lizard. We can thank Judy for that, Mr. Caterpillar. We're transforming to the butterfly. Flap, 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 flap. This is not a shiny one. Where's the shiny one? Shiny butterfly. We got the caterpillar. Hello. To the butterfly. We're all transforming. Okay, so I have the angels with me because they're now calling for these cards before I get my end deck. Yeah, see, those tool. Okay, they're tools. So the pre-K kids, when they're like, they could take this and squeeze it, even though this is a squeaky. I have children that would bite the tongue off and rip this to shreds. So I don't bring them in just yet. They haven't learned. Affirmation. Be aware of your language and thoughts. The most powerful statement you can ever make, think or feel, is thank you. Be grateful for all the blessings in your life. As we acknowledge the divine order of life, the universe responds with the greater blessings. You are a powerful creator. All you say and think resonates through the heart of creation, and creation responds accordingly. Your affirmations also help your ego. Your ego is the one that dictates your reality here in 3D. You're not good enough. Oh, maybe not yet. Uh, mm, mm. Oh, I need a paper shredder. I need a paper shredder. Prayer. Dear guardian angel, help me to believe that all is possible through love. Help me manifest my dreams and live an inspiring and fulfilling life. Help me to feel God's presence in every moment. Help me feel eternally loved. Thank you for being always by my side. And I'm going to add this within. Within. Because God's within. You see, Buckshot, I need a paper shredder for multiple purposes, but also packing material to pack a 5-pound, 5.5, 6-pounder of pyramid. And this might be like 2 pounds, depending on what's in it. The hearts, they need lots of paper because bubble wrap is very expensive. And so is the fill. The foam fill is it? I don't like foam fill, but the paper is expensive. Yeah, I wish I had a wood stove. I mean, I have a fire pit in my backyard, but a neighbor, not my next door neighbor, he's chill as shit. Um, a neighbor 2 doors down is like this old cranky old man. Oh God. I don't understand the insanity that goes on in my phone. Please vote for this person and that person. Make sure you're doing early voting. Mm-mm. Yeah, these if I like let's say I ship this one out, the shipping is over like 13 to $15. It's expensive to ship nowadays. And all the materials that I pack those things in, it's like a fortress. I can't show this card for body parts being exposed. So I will cover it in a second. Epsilon modulation. I'll have to 2-finger that one. It's a pretty card. Just can't show that. Gather your energies and go within to regenerate. Let your actions match your inner rhythm. Sorry, guys. That happens once in a while. Stupid AI BS. Rather than trying to force yourself to keep pace and external cues, commit your own natural timing and pace. As you ground and connect to your center, you will realize your spiritual power to be at cause in any situation of concern. You have such goodness and light within you. Let go of shaming and blaming and embrace the spiritual beauty within. So for those of you who missed it way back in the beginning of this show, I read a quote about shame from Nisha. Spirit guides, hi. Reaching inspired spiritual heights requires commitment to developing powerful, deep roots. A mature creative offering takes longer to produce than that which is ephemeral and swiftly supplanted by whatever is next. Truth. To embrace the patience required for such building, surrender the need for immediate gratification. We become so confident in the authenticity and value of our own process that we are not in need of external evidence to bolster our courage. We can enjoy validation along the way, but must not turn away if it is absent for a time. That's actually very true, because there are times that I am validated through books or through something I watch that I've been saying for years, and then all of a sudden someone else says it. I'm like, oh yay, like another person's on the bandwagon. Great. But then there's often periods of time that I'm not validated, but I have to know it within myself. Although the flash of stunning insight happens in an instant, it follows a complex orchestration of purification and preparation. There is a genius in patience and perseverance. They are the hallmarks of nature's long game, a breathtakingly diverse creative display. We're in the long game, folks. There is no skipping 4D. It's a long haul, and we're all here to enjoy it. So stop wanting to go to 5. You have to live in 4. When we immerse ourselves in the sacred feminine wisdom and the underpinnings of Mother Nature's rapturous creativity, we live differently. We allow ourselves to not know what is coming next, to not need to have the entire picture before we trust things are going to work out. Like I said earlier, if she wins, it's going to work out because we all manifest that reality, correct? Whether she wins or he wins, it doesn't necessarily matter. Because we're going to put our action into motion to make changes, regardless of who's in office, to stand in our convictions. Because no one's coming in on that white horse to save us. We need to save ourselves. And we have to manipulate the system and work with it, not against it, and play the wiser chess game. If you know how to play chess and you know how to make moves, you can maneuver around the bullshit. We use our power to attune and allow rather than to direct and demand. We shift from ego to soul, and in doing so, can embody our divine potential. This oracle asks you to trust in what is happening in your life. It doesn't need to make sense in order for you to benefit from it. The epsilon brainwaves are extremely slow, and their frequency is lower than conventional equipment can measure. They are indicative of the way the brain operates outside of the usual modes of thinking, as per dictates of mass consciousness. In epsilon state, the brain reaches its lowest and slowest oscillations between 0.5 hertz and just above 0 hertz. In the place, extraordinary states of consciousness are accessed, including a pure awareness of nature of being, the deepest levels of insight, and the regenerative bliss of spiritual emptiness. This oracle asks you to switch off and tune in. The greater perspective you will find can be and bring you tremendous peace. This oracle asks you to put your faith in the spiritual power of your path. Dedicate yourself to your personal development and seek out the loving presence of those upon the earth and in spirit who nurture your heart and protect your soul. Yes, I affirm. And I agree. There's a reason why my spirit guides pick what they pick for humanity to hear, because this is where we're at. We have to come into a reality. You can have your biases. We all have them. But you have to start accepting the other side. Condone the shit, but you have to respect that that's their perspective. That's where they're coming from. That's where they align with, whether it be positive or negative. And for all those people who do real bad things and harm other people, what trauma have they not healed that they don't understand what they're doing is bad because they perceive what they're doing is good? Unless they're psychopaths. And there are a lot of those on the world. But we're being asked to, in fourth density, it's unconditional love and compassion, forgiving. So if JQ will one day want to move and shift into 4D, love you, Jason, you're going to have to acknowledge the fact that the blue button people are a part of the paradigm. They're your other selves. And that they're giving you the opportunity to learn. And that you have to accept that they're a part of source. All is a part of source. Satan, the Draco, all of it. They're a part of source. They're just using the polarity of negative. And when you stop feeding the hate, the shame, and the blame, and accept it just as an experience, and that everybody signed up for a soul contract, and we were those people that did those heinous things in another life, in another density. We did it. We were also the ones that got victimized. All is for experience. Source runs through all things. Spirit, whatever you want to give the name to it, us humans label everything for us to understand. When you can see that, embrace it, integrate it, walk it, be your authentic self with it, more people are going to start shifting. Your frequency bandwidth is going to get larger. Your auric field is going to grow larger, and you're going to affect more and more people as that lighthouse. You have to remember, a lot of these people that are on the negative side have so many layers of clothing on, the light can't reach them, and they lost their way. You could say the same thing of a drug addict. I've been there and done that. I was so numb and not wanting to live and experience life here because I wrote in a very difficult set of circumstances in a short amount of time. All the dreams and aspirations I ever plotted out for myself didn't work out. And I was resentful, and I'm like, well, I'm putting in the work and I have to work 5 times harder than other people just to obtain something that somebody can get in a snap. It takes me years to achieve. Why? Because I wrote in this story. Once I understood that I made my story, I'm the only one that can hold myself accountable to it. And say, hey, okay, this is a lot I wanted in this lifetime to learn from. I am not going to have the Ferrari in my driveway. I'm not going to live in that mansion. I'm not going to be seeing the world. That's just what I wrote. What did you write? Or what's your story? But you know what I did write? That this was my mission. To sit here and to speak my truth. And hope that other people integrate it and expand for themselves and do self-exploration to heal, to emerge out of the one book, to persevere through the adversity that's being thrown at us because we wrote it. We wrote this story, guys. We just don't remember. We wrote all this to learn from. It was a choice. We chose suffering because we have emotions down here. We feel emotions. Higher up densities don't have the same expression of emotions and feelings that we have here. And this is the greatest opportunity to heal all the other lifetimes in third density, all the other simultaneous lives happening right now. When you go in with love and heal your past and accept, yeah, I did this, I did that. Okay. What did I learn from it? Take the learning, teaching, dump the rest and release and forgive yourself. And then forgive everybody else who you asked to harm you. You have to take those things with a grain of salt. Because some people had some very traumatic shit happen to them. But all serves a purpose. I don't know what your purposes individually are, but everything serves a purpose in your life. And it sucks. And we feel it. I'm feeling it. Universe puts me near death before I see the symbolism. I'm not supposed to know for myself. That's the tough stuff about the mediumship. I won't know what my future holds because they would infringe on my free will of choice and experiences to learn from. And all things can be transcended. So if we could take anything away from today, please get out of judgment of others. Take the negative thinking that you have going on, all the shame and the dirty ideas that go in your head, and transmute them if they bother you. Exactly, El Sunray. Yes. Yes. Not all souls are lost. I mean, there are, but in a sense, they chose to not be cognizant because their essence, their soul needs another learning mechanism to gain experience. We never actually, I mean, most of us ascended after Atlantis, but many of us are back from Meldeck, from Mars. Um, I know Cesar Charvel, I think one of her kids is from Mars. Um, we're here because we're here to bring the light and to shift. Buckshot, you're amazing, and your card made me tear up. So sweet. And I really thank you for your authenticity. All of you guys. I really do thank all of you for being here and supporting me. Like I said earlier, it's difficult in my circumstances. I'm trying to do different and to have different and see what works and what doesn't work, I'll just shift. But if I don't be persistent with it, it ain't gonna manifest. So, yeah, we need to come together, guys, and we need to spread the love and not the hate. And of course, you're going to not like certain things and you don't have to condone it, but spreading it and feeding the negative side is the worst thing you can do. And I stopped participating in that hate bashing, one-sided, these people are bad and that people are bad and this is happening. I transmute all that energy. And I hope that you guys start doing the same. Doesn't mean I'm not there to support. It doesn't mean I'm not actively participating and helping. Obviously, some things wouldn't be up and on. But I don't feed it anymore. I don't. unfortunately, the hearts are not going to come flying out anymore because I turned that functionality off. But I love you guys so much. Thank you for your support. I have yet, unlike Rumble, I have yet to figure out the encoding for YouTube so I can just go live, but I can actually make a thumbnail and post it out. Zoom is very funny. It does everything differently from Rumble. So it's a pain in the booty. And I just go hit the function and it puts me on. And then I do everything after. So thank you guys so much for your support. I know I didn't really finish all my thoughts, but next Friday, hopefully. Sending each and every one of you love, light, compassion, grace, shielding, and protective energy. Please go within. Can't stress that enough. Be the shoulder for somebody physically. Be the lighthouse. So the person with the million dark layers on can have light penetrate them at some point. Seed your truths respectfully, authentically, but do it in a way that's respectable and mature. That's not easy. And go in your heart, align with your heart. That's the only way we're going to be able to move forward together is to unify. And we have to take all perspectives at its frequency and work with it. And we're nowhere near 5D. Consciously, many of us are there. Physically, we're in 4. And ping-ponging in and out of 3, 4 for most of humanity. Let's shift together. And let's just stop feeding the outside world what it wants. Let's create the new world. We're there already. We got to create it. The space-time is there for it to be manifested. Let's work together, guys. Because I don't think many of us want to replay all this drama. We could shift out of that. So we got to shift together. Not individually. Until the next time, guys, thank you so much for your support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so. And if this hits you in a certain way, please share. I'm not here to disrespect anybody. And I'm here to support the collective because that's my mission. And thank you everybody for coming. I love you guys. And I will see you guys around. And hopefully I get the Law of One done tomorrow. Till the next time, guys. Definitely done with this shit. Done with this shit. Froggy says, heck, heck. We have to find the diamonds in the dog shit, as Carol says. So let's find it and transmute it and be better for it. And for those of you that don't like my opinion that science speaks at all, or that one. Okay, guys, have a great and beautiful weekend, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Bye. 4.